Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, it should be obvious to everyone. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It's great to have you guys along. Really appreciate it. The issue of the shutdown really is the big story this morning. And whether or not we're seeing any movement here, doesn't look like it. Democratic support for a potential deal to reopen the government has crumbled because Democrats don't trust President Trump. And they don't believe he'll act in good faith to extend health insurance subsidies. No, what they said was they'd talk about it. If I remember correctly, isn't that what they said? Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. You've got to reopen the government, and then we'll talk about it. So they are taking that as a promise that the health insurance subsidies are going to be back in running. Have you seen anything along those lines? I have not. Senate Democrats rejected an emerging proposal yesterday to reopen the government, would have linked to stopgap funding. So this is today, excuse me, not yesterday. No, excuse me. A proposal yesterday would have linked the stopgap funding bill, the continuing resolution, to a three full-year appropriations bills funding military construction, Veterans Affairs, the Department of Agriculture, and the legislative branch. So they discussed this at lunch yesterday, and no, they didn't get enough assurances that Trump would renew the enhanced health insurance subsidies that expire in January. The Democrats, that was passed by Democrats with no Republican votes, by the way. They're the ones who set the limit then on that thing to expire. Democrats did. I mean, I think it's really important that you understand the history of how these things happened. So now Democrats, they've lost power, they're out of control, and they're upset. Democrat senators yesterday rejected a proposal from a group of centrists. Democrats say the rocky relationship with Trump is still a huge obstacle. Thune needs at least 8 Democrats. So he is 5 Democrats. You got 3 Democrats who have, and it's been that case for weeks now. 3 Democrats who are on board with the Republicans: Angus King, John Fetterman, and I forget the other. So anyway, we're not any closer. Said that the president hasn't shown any inclination at all to reach a deal with Democrats to reduce health care costs. Instead, Trump has pressed Thune to change the Senate's rules to eliminate the filibuster. And we'll talk about that more in a moment as well, because the president is still on that on Truth Social as of this morning. He was posting, end the filibuster, several posts he's got, ending the filibuster. That's really where the president's putting his money right now, trying to get Republicans to end the filibuster. I just don't think that's going to happen. Trying to see if there's anything else here. So Senator Peter Welch, Democrat, participated in the talks to reopen the government, said he trusts Thune to stick to a deal, but he doesn't trust House Speaker Mike Johnson. He says, Thune, it's beyond his control if we get an enforceable agreement, because we have to get buy-in from the House of Representatives. So it doesn't look like we're any closer. I think I shared comments from Senator John Kennedy with you this morning, and we're going to revisit him again. In fact, let's do that right now. Senator John Kennedy. He thinks this is going to last for at least another 10 days to 2 weeks. Senator Kennedy said. So here's his True Social account. These are postings he just within the last hour here. I voted more than a dozen times to fund the government, but many politicians are too scared of pressure from socialists to do the right thing. I think a missing paycheck would make them grow a spine. I don't know that it would. I would like to believe that. But Kennedy also saying our traffic controllers aren't getting paid. Federal employees aren't getting paid. Practically the only people in our government who are getting paid are members of Congress. That's why I brought 2 bills to the floor to stop paying Congress during shutdowns. And here is Senator Kennedy.
As everyone knows, folks aren't being paid while we're in a shutdown. Our air traffic controllers are not being paid. In fact, starting tomorrow, the airlines are going to be canceling flights.
Yep.
Our staffs are not being paid.
This was yesterday.
Federal employees are
talking.
not being paid. These young men and women here, our pages, are not being paid. Our military is only being partially paid. I'm confused about SNAP payments. Some say the payments are being made. Some say they aren't. I don't know who's telling the truth, but I do know this. I don't think anybody wants to see anybody hungry in America.
I don't think anybody knows who's telling the truth. And I think that is partly by design of some, but we don't know who's telling the truth. And I think that's a big part of the problem.
The only people that I can ascertain who are being paid are members of Congress. Now, I'm not being paid. I said I wasn't going to take a salary during the shutdown. And some of my colleagues are, and I'm not judging anybody. I'm really, the purpose of this is not to judge anybody. I'm just saying that it's time that Congress set an example. I've got 2 bills I'm going to offer up today.
We talked about this
one
yesterday.
Is called the No Shutdown Paychecks to Politicians Act. This just says that while we're in a shutdown, members of Congress don't get paid, and they don't get back pay. The second bill,
I love this,
is entitled Withhold Member Pay During Shutdowns Act. That bill says while we're in a shutdown, members of Congress don't get paid, but they will get paid. They'll get their money in arrears after we open government back up.
So that's very much what we discussed yesterday on the show. Kennedy saying, I first knew something was wrong in the Democratic Party when it became obsessed with spending more and more taxpayer money. Now I don't even recognize it. It's dominated by people who believe in open borders, think that everyone who doesn't agree with them is a racist, he said. I love John Kennedy. I really do. He is, and I mentioned to you, and I'm on the air this morning, he's got a book out right now. Forgive me, I forget the name of it right off the top of my head. Let me pull it up here on my Audible. How to Test Negative for Stupid and Why Washington Never Will. And it's by Senator John Kennedy. And it is, I'm really enjoying it. And I'm not very deep into it yet, but I'm already appreciating his perspective. And this guy, he is incredibly learned. I mean, he went to Oxford University over in the UK. He had a law degree here in the United States before he went to Oxford. This guy is incredibly smart, Senator John Kennedy. So we'll see how much longer the shutdown goes on. The Axios has got a story I wanted to share on this issue too. Republicans quietly optimistic about a fix for the Affordable Care Act tax credits. That's what Democrats want. So if Axios can be believed, and I don't often believe them, a growing number of Senate Republicans indicating they're open to a deal on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Reforms will be needed. So Senator John Kennedy, there he is again. Just extending the status quo is like putting fresh paint on rotten wood. It's got to be fixed. And that's what a lot of people have been saying, including President Trump. You cannot just, Obamacare has been a mess. It's been an absolute mess. So at least 13 Republicans will need to support a deal to help the Democrats clear the Senate's threshold. Some Republican say they think they can get there. Senator Jeanne Shaheen, I've had positive conversations with my many Republican colleagues. My hope is that more of them will come forward so we can find a path forward to end the shutdown and prevent healthcare premiums spiking for tens of millions of Americans. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as to whether or not this is going to happen. So they really, really want to see, and they want to hold on to those Obamacare tax credits. And as Axios says, Thune had promised to vote on the tax credits as well as a good faith effort to address the issue as soon as the government is reopened. So again, Thune has said, we're willing to talk about this. And I have been, I saw that days ago. We've been talking about this. I think even into last week, they were saying, yeah, we'll talk about this. Okay, healthcare is the issue. We'll talk about it, but you've got to reopen the government. John Thune, Speaker Johnson, and President Trump were all on board. All three of them said, yeah, we'll talk about it, but you've got to reopen the government first. And I just think it's absolutely crazy. The Democrats are just going to continue on the path that they're on. And it's just, they're going to ride that crazy train right as far as it goes. All right, let's check out the president's True Social account here this morning. We'll work our way backward. Nancy Pelosi, the old and broken political hack who impeached me twice and lost, finally calling it quits. She illegally made a fortune in the stock market, ripped off the American public, was a disaster for America. I'm so glad to see the stench of Nancy go. Wow. Wow, those are harsh words. So the president here also, again, appealing. This is only a couple of hours ago. Republicans, terminate the filibuster. Bring back the American dream. If you don't do it, the Dems will, and you'll never see office again. President Trump says, and he repeats it, just say no, nuclear option. Terminate the filibuster. So the president commenting on that a number of times this morning, getting rid of the filibuster, and he has said that repeatedly. I shared his address, to senators at the White House breakfast the other day, and I shared some of that video. And the president repeatedly touching on the filibuster and saying we got to get rid of the filibuster. Let's get rid of it. Let's move forward. And making, at least my estimation, a pretty compelling case as to why that ought to be done. So I'm going to leave it there for this morning. You have made it to the end of the video. So I want to thank you. You're part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Let's get that. There we go. You can't salute like this. It's got to be like this. So a special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks that are here each and every day. You see their comments on YouTube, Facebook, and I appreciate all of you. I want to wish all of you a great weekend. So until Monday, my friends, I'm underground and gone.